when your woman makes more than you do? Can you handle it? This is the JMA Podcast, episode 15. This is Joyfully Married After with Heath and Tracy. I'm Heath.
And I'm Tracy.
We're joyfully married after how many years, baby?
26.
26 years, 4 kids, corporate jobs, entrepreneurs, and this podcast is our view on life through our lens.
Let's go.
Hey, baby, you ready to talk about this money game?
Oh, yeah. Got to talk about the coins.
Get your coins up.
Get your coins ready.
Secure the bag.
Yeah. We're talking about finances today. And
When she makes more.
Yes. When she makes more than he does.
Can you handle it, fellas? I've been handling it for a long, long time.
You've been doing a great job, baby.
There was a time in our marriage where I was the quote-unquote breadwinner. I made a lot more money than you did.
Yes.
There was a time in our marriage where my employment was a lot more stable than yours.
Yes.
There was a time in our marriage where I was carrying the load.
Yep. You sure were.
And those days are not today. Today, the queen brings home a lot more than I do.
It's okay, though.
It's okay because
It's all our money.
it's one big pool.
It's one big pool.
That's how we roll.
We have shared coinage.
And so the question, I think that one of the things that that we work through in our lives around this is probably things that are resonating with other people who have this same scenario.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because it is very prevalent, especially in the brown communities, I would say.
Black, brown,
where
African American.
Where women are actually doing a lot better from a income perspective than the men are.
Educations are higher and they're achieving more rapidly.
Right.
So this is an issue in a lot of relationships.
It's a real topic.
Yes.
It's a real topic.
And we're going to be very transparent with you.
So the first thing, when you talk about the woman making more than the man, then how does that impact the finances, right? The paying the bills, the monitoring the spending, deciding on purchases, budgeting, saving, investment decisions, retirement planning. I mean, there's a myriad of conversations, right? And so for us, I think that because Tracy has been making so much more than I have over the years, say the last 15, 20 years probably.
Really? Has it been that long?
Yes.
So about half our marriage.
At least half our marriage you've made more than I have, yes.
Wow.
And so, during the time that we
But you have more money than me.
My allowance is bigger. I remember when I used to work for Marriott, one of my bosses said to me one time, he said, your allowance is probably bigger than mine.
Oh my God.
I was like, what?
When you were like 22?
I was like 26. I was like 20 years old, 22 years old. And, he was like, dude, when you get that 4-digit mortgage and you got the kids and the wife he was like, trust me. Your allowance.
It's not pretty.
He said your allowance is probably more than mine.
But the finances are probably the first thing you think about, like Heath said. And you don't want to just give the finances responsibility to the person that makes the most money. Mm-hmm. Or you don't want to just give the finances to the man. Mm-hmm. Hope I'm not stepping on any toes here, but I'm stepping on them.
Yeah. I think the first thing that you have to decide that is who's better with the money.
Exactly.
That's really the key, right? Because you're in marriage, you're in a marriage relationship, you're in a partnership. And so for the purposes of the household, the first thing you want to do to look at as a team is who is the stronger teammate when it relates to the money.
Right.
So I think that's the first thing. And so transparently for me, because Tracy was better at that in terms of that balance, Tracy has had the majority of doing that in our relationship. And I think that for a while, for me, it was like, it was when I was maybe a little down on myself during the years where my employment was choppy. I think that it really made it to where I was like, well, I ain't bringing in no money and you making the money. Right? It was like,
ooh, those were rough.
It was like
those were rough days.
it was like I had was like a slep rock, right? It was like this cloud following me around. And
Yes,
it's just
literally.
raining on me, and I was like, wow, it's me. And so I think that that probably added to the burden and the paradigm that we have in our relationship around you doing that
Yeah, it could.
dealing with the bills. And so that's a big thing, right? Is like who's making the money. So if the woman is making more money, then how does that make the man feel? If she's paying the bills, if she's monitoring the spending, if she's saying to her husband, to her man, hey, you shouldn't buy that, you can't do this week because of this and that, no, that's going to have to wait, and those kinds of things. How is that integrated into the relationship, and what does that do to the family dynamic and the couple dynamic?
Yeah, you really have to keep that in mind, how that transpires. If the woman is making more but the man is better at handling the finances, paying the bills and monitoring the spending, deciding on purchases, let him do it.
Right.
It's not any there's got to be a trust factor there.
Sure.
Ladies, if you're making more, there's got to be a trust factor with your spouse as to who handles the finances better. So it's very important that you seek out who is better, and if neither one of you are good at it, you need to go ahead and find somebody to help you.
Yeah. I think the second point that we wanted to bring was, how do the family and friends think about your relationship, looking at it from the outside in, right? What does her family think? What do her friends think? What does the guy's family think? What do his friends think?
Well,
and how does society, really look at that in an approval or disapproval in terms of the income difference?
Yeah, this is a tough one because typically most families are going to think, oh, that's all he's doing, or oh, he can't do more, or oh, he needs to find another job, or he needs to go back to school, or he needs to finish school. And that's going to put pressure on the relationship.
Yeah.
With him, he's going to feel an indifference to how society disapproves of the income difference, period.
Sure.
Man, how you let her make more money than you? What kind of man is you?
I'm a house husband.
Right. That people frown on that. Just as a whole, our cultural society, now it's beginning to change, but it still really hasn't changed overall.
Yeah.
The man still wants to be the breadwinner.
Sure.
And you've got to release all of that. You've got to release your family, and you've got to release societal pressures. Neither one of them can make a difference in your relationship.
Yeah, that's a great point, baby. And I think that while we're on that subject, is that if you decide as a couple, as a family, that you want to have the husband stay at home and maintain the household and the work with the children and help with meals and planning and some of those things where it's quote role reversal and that kind of thing, if that's best for your family, if your husband is gifted to do that, if the woman has that kind of career path or business path, there is absolutely nothing wrong with it if that's what is best for you and your family.
The company I work in, many of the executive women, their husbands stay at home with the kids. And it's because they can. They can. And it depends on your man.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say all men are cut out for that.
Absolutely.
So I wouldn't assume that should be his role. But let me tell you something. You've got to be contributing something. You can't go home and play Call of Duty all day,
Right.
or stay on the golf course all day with your boys.
Yep.
It's not going to work.
Yep.
Or whatever men do that when they're not working.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's still a partnership.
It's still definitely a partnership. And I think as long as you are contributing, maybe not financially, but contributing to the household in some way.
Yeah.
I think it's very important that happens. It's visible. You feel good about it, and she feels good about it, and that levels off what you think is an unlevel playing field as far as finances. It's definitely got to be your contribution. What are you contributing?
Yeah.
What are you contributing to the marriage? What are you contributing to the household to make this keep moving?
Yeah, and I think another point to bring here, baby, is that whether it's the man who makes more or the wife who makes more, the person who's not making as much or the person who is at home in that role. I think that some people have that need, that yearning to create income outside of that.
Yeah,
Right?
definitely.
So
Start your business.
there's absolutely nothing wrong with creating that side business, doing some things on the side. You want to feel better about yourself, generating income, if that's your thing, if that's something that you want to do,
Yeah.
and still kind of help with the children and help with the house and the dishes and the
If
food.
you
and
want to.
if that's your thing, if that's what
Right.
you want to do, right? So it's just striking a chord, finding that balance, and executing in the communication of the relationship so that everybody's on the same page.
And ladies, you can't dictate to your man what that contribution is going to be for this to work. If you are going to dictate to him, you're going to make the money and tell him what to do, it's not going to work.
Right.
You're going to have to come to an agreement as to what he's going to do. Okay, baby, I'm going to go back to school. Baby, I'm going to start my business on the side. Baby, I'm going to stay home and take care of the kids. Whatever it is, it needs to be an agreed upon situation, not one that you dictate to him.
Yeah.
That's going toward divorce.
Yeah.
That's going toward separation. So keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Keep
That's
that
a
in
great
mind.
point. You don't want to attack the man's ego, right? And especially if it's a scenario where it's a job loss or some other things that are happening there, is that that's when you want to actually support your man even more, right?
Correct.
And so that's not the time to, put your foot on his throat and dictate and be, some type of tyrant inside of your household. That is a recipe.
Just because you make more money.
That is a recipe for disaster. So that's a great point, baby, that you're bringing there.
Right.
I think that from a satisfaction in relationship, that's another topic here.
Yeah.
So
people tend to think, not to interrupt you, but people tend to think that she is naturally unsatisfied with the relationship.
Right.
It's like something triggers in some women that, oh, you don't do the dishes like I want them done. Or you don't I want to have a baby, but I feel like I can't because I have this job that's supporting us. Well, let's think about that. If he's not doing the dishes how you get done, hire somebody that does. If it's so bad that you don't approve of it, hire somebody to do it like you want it done. That's extra money going out the door. Does that make any sense?
No.
Live with it. Relax. Let it go.
Yeah.
Let him vacuum the carpet like he wants to vacuum it. Let him take the car to the car wash he likes.
Right.
Let him do the dishes, load the dishwasher like he wants. Let him cook the meals he wants to cook, or order in every night, whatever it is. But have an understanding that is mutually agreed upon.
Yeah.
The other thing is, as far as the family planning status, if you are ready to have children and you are the breadwinner as a woman, have the discussion. Who is going to take care of this baby, and when are we going to do it? And don't feel the way you take the pressure off is if you change your lifestyle. You change how much money is going out. You change it so that, yes, I'm making more, but my more is a difference. My more is going to give me 6 months off with the baby. That's how you handle it. You handle it in the aspect of adding to the household, not we're going to use up everything I'm making to make this happen, and I want to have a baby on top of it. You've really got to plan. You've really got to understand what happens here. We can do it all. I've had it all. We can do it all, but you have to plan and you have to be realistic with your partner and communicate to your partner about that. And that keeps the satisfactory level intact. I'm very satisfied. So it's very important to keep that in mind. Have the continuous discussions around these things.
Yeah, I think that's important, baby, in terms of those last couple points that you were bringing there in terms of pressure, right? And so if you can think about it through the woman's lens for a moment, if the husband is making less and
lots of pressure,
he's not doing kind of the things that are keeping the woman happy, and the woman is feeling pressure around her career, right? And so she's the primary breadwinner, so there's additional pressure there to perform in the office environment, to perform in the business environment, to keep the income moving, maybe not spending as much time with the family as she'd like. There's a lot of pressure, external pressure that she feels when she's in that scenario. And with respect to the relationship, when you talk about the relationship with the husband, how is she articulating what she's happy with or not happy with when she gets home, right? Oh, the kitchen's a mess, baby. And what have you been doing all day? And how are you not doing this? And you're not engaged with the kids on their homework. And, what's going on? What's the deal?
Recipe
right?
for disaster.
So there's a lot of pressure from a relationship perspective, from a career perspective. And so if you're the guy in this scenario, that's when your manhood kicks in, but you bring it from a different angle, right? If I'm the guy that's at home and my wife is out there slaying it in the corporate environment, I want to make sure the house is tight, that it's on point when she gets in. I want to make sure the dishes are done, that the dinner is going, that I got the kids moving with their homework, that maybe I looked at a couple of the bills and made her aware of some things that are pressing, whatever it is, right, to alleviate her being concerned about the household stuff. And that conversely is going to have a positive impact on her career, because she can feel like she doesn't have the pressure to perform in those areas.
Correct.
Because she's at home. And then that's going to make her feel really good about me, that even though I'm not bringing in, those super coins, that she is doing her thing and that I'm doing her thing, and that we are still operating as a team.
Correct.
And we have actually, so from a transparency perspective, we've had that scenario here and there during the course of our 27-year marriage. And Tracy has had specific points in her career where she's actually excelled.
Oh, yeah.
When I was in between jobs or something like that, because I was on point at home. And it made her feel good that her children were with someone that she trusted, and that she knew that I was getting the job done on that end. And so can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, it's definitely, you feel better when even though there is a difference in income, the whole idea of a difference in income is kind of, women that have their own business need support in so many different ways.
True.
They need additional ideas. They need additional support when it comes to their staffing.
Yep.
And they need help in growing that business.
Right.
So if your woman, just from a different standpoint, makes more than you because she has her own business, look for ways to support her in that business.
Sure.
That's what you can do.
Yep.
And sometimes when we say make more money, it might not be that much more.
True.
Let it go. Understand that your money is combined. Mm-hmm. It's hard when we have this discussion. It's weird for me because I just don't think about it like that.
Right.
I think about our money.
Yep.
And that's another place you need to get to, both of you. You both need to get to our money.
Yep.
If you want to have your own money on the side, get your own little bank account and fill that up every time you get paid, or once a month or whatever. If you want to have a little secret stash, that's fine, as long as it's understood that that's the secret stash and we're not missing out on anything because you got a secret stash.
Yep.
So I think it's important to understand that we are one.
Yep.
And if you act like one, those other factors just don't dominate. They don't dominate the relationship.
Absolutely.
Have an open dialogue. Have an open conversation about what we're doing here and if we're going to continue. Some men are very uncomfortable with this.
Sure.
And ladies, you have to think about how, if he's so uncomfortable, what's really going on? Mm-hmm. What's the real factor? Am I doing and saying things to make him feel uncomfortable? Am I acting a certain way to make him feel uncomfortable? If that's the case, you need to check yourself. Mm-hmm. I try to be very cognizant of my husband's feelings around this whenever I discuss anything. Like I said, it's like second nature now. Like I said, about half our marriage, I've made more. And so it's just not a factor. It takes care of us. It gives us our lifestyle. But it doesn't reflect on him in any way, shape, or form as a husband or a father.
Sure.
Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that for us, we can certainly speak to this firsthand, and we hope that some of the things that we've shared today are helpful to people who are struggling in these areas. Yeah.
Keep in mind to keep it going. Just keep it going and keep the conversations going. And this is not anything bad. It's just not bad because the woman makes more.
One bucket, one life, one marriage. Thanks again for listening today, folks. If you liked any of what you heard, please like, comment, and subscribe to our podcast.
Tell a friend, too. And you can engage us at heathentracy.com for all the goings on in our world. Queen Tracy, speak to the people.
Bye, loves.